morning everybody. How are you today? صباح الخير جميعا. كيف حالكم اليوم? Let's continue with our reading text page number 64 لنكمل مع نص القراءة صفحة رقم 64. First of all, let's answer the questions that I left you with yesterday. أولاً لنجب عن الأسئلة التي تركتكم معها يوم أمس. The underlined pronoun it refers to الضمير الموجود تحته خط it يعود على would or firewood. Find from the paragraph the following: plural noun mountains, a pronoun we, a conjunction and, a past verb took, one of the four seasons, winter. Now the last question, think about it. What are the advantages of the stove? السؤال الأخير كان فكر ما هي إيجابيات الموقد. Number 1, we can use it for cooking. يمكننا استخدامه للطهو. Number 2, the stove keeps the place warm and nice. We can gather around it. يمكننا التجمع حوله. Drink hot chocolate. نشرب الشوكولا الساخنة. And listen to grandpa's story. It is the winter atmosphere. الأجواء الشتوية دائما. In the stories we watch that the family gathered around the stove. نرى بأن العائلة تجتمع حول الموقد. They drink hot chocolate and they play sometimes or listen to stories. يلعبون أو يستمعون إلى القصص. So these are the advantages of the stove. هذه هي أهمية أو إيجابيات الموقد. Now bring your pencil, your notebook and your book. أحضر قلمك، دفترك وكتابك. I'm going to read the whole text. سأقوم بقراءة النص كاملا and discuss some points with you. مناقشة بعض النقاط معكم. Let's start. لنبدأ. Growing up near a mountain was one of the best things about my childhood. My family's cabin neighbored the most beautiful blue lake, which was next to a green meadow that was covered with flowers in the springtime. In the spring, I would walk to the meadow and pick some of the purple, pink, and yellow flowers. Across from the meadow was the best lake in the world because I could go swimming there in the summer and also catch some of the most delicious fish any time of the year. My mom knew just how to cook them. In this paragraph, في هذه الفقرة, we knew where did he live and when. علمنا في هذه الفقرة أين كان يعيش the one who wrote the diaries, الشخص الذي كتب المذكرات, and when. So he lived near a mountain. عاش بالقرب من الجبل. When he was a child, عندما كان طفلا in his childhood, خلال طفولته. He told us about the view of their cabin. أخبرنا على ماذا يطل الكوخ الخاص بهم. The family's cabin neighbored the most beautiful blue lake, which was next to a green meadow that was covered with flowers in the springtime. And we learned a lot about his activities at springtime. أيضا تعلمنا الكثير عن نشاطاته خلال فصل الربيع. He would walk to the meadow and pick flowers. كان يمشي إلى المرج ويقطف الزهور. The second paragraph, الفقرة الثانية. Between two of the mountain ridges was a beautiful valley full of green plants and tall trees. I loved swimming and fishing, but the most enjoyable thing for me to do was to hike into the valley, explore and have a picnic there. I could see many animals, enjoy the pretty valley and climb trees. The worst part was hiking back up, but it was fun to pretend I was climbing Mount Everest. In the winter, there was always plenty of snow for skiing, and I loved to ski Because we lived in the mountains, I could always find fun and fast ski slopes to try out. My friends and I always had things to do in the country, and it was all free. We all thought that living in the country was much better than city life. Here we got informations about things that he did in the meadow and the mountains. في هذه الفقرة حصلنا على معلومات عن الأشياء الممتعة التي كان يقوم بها في المرج وعلى الجبال with his friends مع أصدقائه all for free وكانت جميعها بالمجان. Not as living in the city ليست كالحياة أو العيش في المدينة where we pay money to play. في المدينة نحن نقوم بدفع المال من أجل اللعب. For example, you pay money to play in an amusement park. فمثلا نحن ندفع المال من أجل اللعب في المدينة الترفيهية. So there, in the meadow, in the mountains, in the countryside, في الريف, في المرج, في الجبال, they all play for free. كانوا يلعبون بالمجان. What kind of playing؟ ما كانت أنواع هذه الألعاب. For example, skiing. التزلج. I could always find fun and fast ski slopes to try out. دائما ما كان يجد منحدرات ممتعة لتجربتها. Also hiking, climbing, pretending that he's climbing Mount Everest. تظاهره بأنه كان يتسلق قمة جبل إيفرست. So he and his friends هو وأصدقاؤه they always had things to do in the country. دائما كانوا يحظون على العديد من الأشياء لفعلها في الريف. The last paragraph الفقرة الأخيرة. The mountains, meadow, valley and lake areas were all covered by a wonderful green forest. So we got all of our heat from the forest. Every autumn my family took our jeep and drove into the forest. There we would find many fallen trees that we could cut into firewood. We would spend several days each year cutting the wood, putting it into our jeep and stacking it behind our house to use during the winter in our wood stove. The stove kept our house nice and warm all winter. We could even cook on the stove if we wanted to. I learned how to use an axe when I was young, and I became quite good at cutting wood because I practiced a lot every winter. I love growing up in the mountains, and I hope to move back there one day after I finish university. Here he gave us informations about firewood, how to cut it, and he mentioned a tool which cut the wood. في هذه الفقرة أخبرنا عن الحطب كيفية تقطيعه وذكر الأداة التي يقطعون بها الحطب. He said that قال بأنه every autumn my family took a jeep and drove into the forest. So they go to the forest to get wood. يذهبون إلى الغابة للحصول على الخشب. There we find many fallen trees that we could cut into firewood. The tool is an axe والأداة هي الفأس. Also, he told us why they cut the wood. أخبرنا لماذا يقطعون الأخشاب. To use during winter in our wood stove. يستخدمونه في الشتاء لأجل الموقد. Finally, how to stack it and why. كيفية تكديس وتخزين الحطب ولماذا. Again, to use it in winter لاستخدامه في الشتاء. They start cutting wood. أولا يقومون بتقطيع الأخشاب. Putting it into our jeep. ثم يقومون بوضعه في سيارة الجيب الخاصة بهم. And stacking it behind our house. ثم يقومون بتكديسه خلف منزلهم. Now all of these paragraphs جميع هذه الفقرات it was all diaries about growing up near a mountain. كانت كلها عبارة عن مذكرات تتحدث عن النشأة والنمو بالقرب من الجبل. Now after reading the text page number 64 بعد قراءة النص صفحة رقم 64 let's discuss the following لنتناقش فيما يلي. Number 1. At what time of life did the boy live near the mountain? في أي وقت عاش بالقرب من الجبل؟ In his childhood or in his youth. هل عاش هناك في طفولته أم في شبابه for example. Now, did he live with family in a flat? هل كان يعيش مع عائلته في شقة؟ Number 3. Which mountain did he pretend to climb? تظاهر هذا الولد بأنه يتسلق أي جبل. What is the name of this mountain? ما اسم هذا الجبل؟ Number 4. Write about his activities through the 4 seasons of the year. سنقوم بكتابة نشاطاته خلال الفصول 4 من السنة. Winter, spring, summer and autumn. For example, مثلا in summer or during summertime. During summertime he was swimming and fishing in the best lake in the world. He told us that. أخبرنا بأنه كان يذهب في الصيف إلى البركة أفضل بركة في العالم وكان يصطاد وكان يسبح فيها. What about the rest of the 4 seasons? ماذا عن باقي الفصول? Let's think about the answers. نفكر في الإجابات. So the text told us that in his childhood he lived in the mountains. في طفولته عاش في الجبال. And the family did not live in a flat. عائلته لم تعش في شقة. They lived in a cabin. عاشوا في كوخ. And he mentioned Mount Everest. ذكر جبل أو قمة جبل إيفرست as a mountain that he pretended to climb. كجبل كان يتظاهر في تسلقه. Now about the 4 seasons فيما يتعلق بالفصول 4. In winter or during winter he was enjoying skiing. كان يستمتع في التزلج and having fun at many slopes that covered with snow. Also he was practicing cutting wood every winter. He told us أخبرنا that he practiced cutting wood إنه تدرب على تقطيع الأخشاب. So he was good at using an axe. كان جيدا في استخدام الفأس. At springtime is your homework. ستبقى واجب لديكم. Summer we read it. قرأنا ما كان يفعله في فصل الصيف. And in autumn في فصل الخريف during autumn he was spending time cutting and stacking wood for the stove. Also your homework is أيضا واجبكم. Where do you think the boy lives now and how old is he? أين تعتقد بأنه يعيش الآن وكم عمره؟ Describe the location of the family's cabin. قم بوصف موقع الكوخ. From the text it is in the what neighbored the what which was next to what. Now choose a name for the diaries. قم باختيار اسم لهذه المذكرات. And the last question السؤال الأخير. Write at least 4 superlatives from the text. اكتب على الأقل 4 من صيغ التفضيل الموجودة في النص. Thank you so much. Study well and have a nice weekend.